This is the January 2026 meeting of the Troy Planning Board. Will come to order. Will you stand, please, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, folks. I'll call the roll. Board Member Scully.
Here.
Board Member Dixon.
Here.
Board Member Schufall.
Here.
Board Member York.
Present.
Board Member Keough present. All board members are present. We do have a quorum accordingly. And so first order of business, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes of December 25th.
A second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. And the motion carries unanimous. Just need a minute. So the second item on the agenda tonight is review of proposed changes to Chapter 285 of the city charter regarding zoning regulations. Are any member, we're not going to call this right now, but just for my information, any members of the public here to comment on that proposal? Okay, we're going to have to move that. Pardon me?
Peter, I mean, you could still let them speak. And as far as I know, this isn't an actual hearing, right? It's an administrative item for you to provide recommendations. So I understand without corporation counsel here, you may want to delay those recommendations without the full, and we might not be able to answer all questions associated with it, but up to you if you want to.
All right, well, for the convenience of the public, we probably, there are a lot of legal issues concerning that proposal, and we're not prepared to really deal with those issues unless we have the corporation counsel who's not here yet. So I think maybe to convenience you, we will give you an opportunity to speak, but we're probably going to have to table action on it until the next meeting. But since you're here, we would like to hear what you have to say. So we'll call that first item, review of the proposed changes to Chapter 285. So anyone who wants to speak with respect to that proposal, please come on up to the podium, identify yourself, and give us your remarks. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes.
Is that working?
So touched.
Want to try it without the mic? Oh, we got to record it, right?
Yell at us.
I mean, I can definitely project.
There you go.
I just don't know if the system will
Recorded,
pick it
yeah.
up.
Yeah, Zoom probably won't catch it, but. Good evening, everyone. Stephen Maples, South Troy. I've sent you my full remarks, so I'm just going to very quickly, sort of hit the highlights here. I think basically there's sort of one consideration right off the top, which is that these changes weren't submitted to this body or even the city council with any sort of like backing or justifications, no reasons why, no data backing up the reasons for the changes. So I think, like, honestly, just on that basis alone, I feel like the council could just say, the board could just take the action of requesting more information from the administration as to, like, what's going on, why are we doing this, what's the backup behind it, so that you can then make an informed judgment on those things, or alternatively, just because of that, just say, like, we're just not going to recommend it, either or. And then to the content of the changes themselves, I think I can kind of summarize this into fairly simply that the section 2, which is about getting rid of the language for change of use, not only is this going to be just a massive increase in the workload for the board, massive increase on the workload for staff. But it's also kind of just sort of defeats the purpose of what this board is here to do. This board is here for more of like a policy and guidance kind of board. It's a public a board that, you know, that is sort of, it's meant to be sort of the voice of the people, to kind of have that voice be expressed, you know, within the bounds of the laws, but in those discretionary decisions within the law, this is the role of the board. And, you know, for every single kind of change of use, no matter how small, it feels just sort of like a not a wise use of this body's time and resources. And then I will just sort of say with the sort of the sections dealing with cannabis, I think that there's just another question here about, I'm not sure that the administration is providing enough resources and backup data to understand if we make all of these changes. State law does not allow us to sort of backdoor make cannabis shops illegal. We had a window for saying if we wanted to opt out of that. We did not opt out of it. So state law precludes us from using zoning to essentially eliminate those as a reasonable, in reasonable ways. So I think at this point, there's a question of, I think we actually need some data from the administration to let's prove the fact that we're not actually making them functionally illegal. So I think there's an opportunity there for some dialogue with the administration. And I think absent of that, I think we should, the board should not recommend those changes. And finally, just a very small thing with Section 5, dealing with the materials for fences. I would just making a very tiny note that live fences, living fences are a widely accepted, widely revered form of fencing that doesn't have explicit protection in that language. And I think that would be, a shame to not have that explicit protection within that language. So I would either recommend changing that language or recommending no change. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to comment? Okay, then we'll close the public hearing. Board, I don't think we're in a position to discuss this. Is there a motion to table it?
I make a motion that we table.
Second,
I second.
discussion. All in favor, say aye.
To which date?
Pardon me?
To which date?
To which
Ta-
date?
table
To
this,
the- to the next
to-
meeting?
Till the next meeting,
To the next meeting.
February, whatever.
And you concur with that in a second. So motion made and seconded to table this to the next meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. And the motion carries unanimously. We'll go to the regular agenda. Twenty 2025-0038, 15 to 25 Fourth Street.
Is everything working for you, Brad?
It's got to share.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Good evening, Brian Ragone, landscape architect with the Environmental Design Partnership. I'm here with Dean Murata and Sean Donnelly out in the audience, the applicants for the project. Just to refresh everybody's memory, I know this has been in front of the board a bunch of times now. It's the former Uncle Sam's parking garage. It's located between 3rd and 4th Street, just south of the Best Western Hotel and just north of Fulton Street. It's in the DMU zone, also in the downtown two district. It's a proposed 5-story building, 193 units, 236 parking spaces, which matches the number of bedrooms that are going to be proposed. It's a site plan. We're going to need to do, or I'm sorry, there's 158 standard parking spaces and we got 78 compact parking spaces. We're proposing the long-term bike storage inside, and we got short-term bike storage on the outside along Fulton Street. We're going to have to consolidate all the lots, and we did submit a lot line adjustment map last time, I think back in late December for everybody to see. We have our main attraction, obviously, is the second story, which is the amenity space area where there's going to be walking paths, connections to some of the units on that floor, grill areas, pickleball courts, and community gardens. And we have come up with a concept that we wanted to show the board here tonight. And this is it. And I'm just going to roll through what else I have in my notes. And then we can come back to this if you would like. We have to submit, which we did, to the ZBA for a area variance for the building setback along Museum Place. We're currently the existing building setbacks are 0 to 10 feet. And obviously, because we have to put in the parking and the parallel parking and the drive aisle, it pushes it back further. Well, yeah, I'm finding out today that we also have to do a parking variance as well, because they're considering that now a front yard setback. So we're going to submit to the board for that and hopefully get that taken care of in February.
Just want to clear the record. The approach to the parking setback was based on a front side setback. That's considering the parcel to be a corner lot with a right of way to the north. I have to defer to Corporation Counsel as to whether or not this project is subject to that front side setback or just a side setback, which would determine whether or not a variance is required.
Okay. I got an email today, 4:37, it said it's now a front.
The front of this property would be considered 4th Street.
Yeah,
Because it's
well,
a 4th Street
I got an
address.
email at 4:37 from Angelina
Okay,
that said it was a front yard on Museum Place. So
I
I don't
will-
know.
I will address that with
Okay,
him.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm confused too. So,
No problem. Sorry.
so yeah, again, we were last here in December. We're hoping to get the site plan deemed complete tonight here. Possibly talk maybe some seeker and hopefully set the public hearing very soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
I know I asked this question the first time you were here, but I find it very what's the word I want to use? I think you should have a person with an office in your building to take care of this building. You have 193 residential units, and you don't feel that you need somebody in that building to answer calls, or not just an outside call, but somebody that's physically there in an office?
I can't speak for them, but I was just in Florida myself. My son is in the community just like this, and they don't have anybody either. They actually have to go online or call somebody.
I don't agree with that.
Is there a sewer capacity issue here, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, they're in the combined sewer district. They've been reviewed under the model. We've submitted some feedback, had some back and forth. Where does that stand, the progression of the sewer offset projects or analysis?
What I know is we're still looking to find where the disconnect's got to be, where we disconnect it. we're still looking for that information.
In what sense specifically?
Or to disconnect, where we would disconnect between the sewer and the storm.
Yeah, so I believe I laid out two different options to your team. CDM Smith also weighed in and, I can't off of memory, I forget which regulator was the more beneficial to offset from, but that was outlined. And then from that point, the burden would be on the developer and their engineer to develop an offset project that meets DEC's requirements. Essentially reduce the amount of combined sewage below pre-existing levels.
So there are quite a few notes from staff and staff recommendations. A lot of these I think you've seen before. Do you have any issue with any of those? I know some of them you're still trying to work out, I think, but any of those that look like deal killers for you?
So just going through the latest staff recommendations.
You don't have to address those all tonight. Just
No, I
anything that
mean,
pops out at
No,
you.
we had a phone call today with Eric. We feel like we're very, very close to getting everything addressed at this point. We don't have really any real objections.
What's the status on the EV parking and charging situation? The Troy Fire Department at our last meeting, had spoken to the fact that there were concerns. But the state of New York says that we need X number of chargers.
We have no problem putting them in.
Putting them in.
Yeah.
Have you spoken to the Troy Fire Department at all?
We have not spoken with them again, but we know obviously it's a requirement by the state.
Right.
So if we have to put them in, we just didn't want to step on his toes and,
Sure.
So that's, we could do either, obviously, but if they're required, they're required.
Yeah, I think that, during our conversation with the TFD at the last meeting was that they were more concerned with the batteries than the charging. And, if that was the case.
More about cars,
I would assume now you're looking to go through and comply with the
Yeah.
state needs for charging,
Right.
correct? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay, are they on the site plan yet?
I don't think we show them on the current site plan, but they would be along the wall, along the closest part of the outside, so.
Okay.
Hopefully
Thank you.
relieve some of that.
Thanks.
So you had a meeting with the Historic Review Committee recently, did you?
There was
Yeah.
a meeting last week.
Did you participate?
I
in
did
that?
not participate. in
Do you
that.
know any issues that?
I
we
don't know
Should
any
be
issues.
talking about? You don't know? Okay. Well, I think it's something that we probably gonna talk about before we finish here, but is there any other questions for the applicant?
No, I don't think we're ready to
Okay,
make this
thank
a
you.
final.
We're gonna, so I think staff has indicated that we can determine that the application is complete at this stage. Is there any
Do we really want to?
motion
There's
to
too
that
many
effect or
variances. We have
discussion?
variances to get yet.
Yeah.
I think there's just too many things outstanding for us to make this application complete.
Let's see if there's any member of the public who wants to speak. I don't think a hearing is required. But we'll give the public an opportunity to comment, might be guide you a little bit. So is there anybody who wants to speak on this application? There's been plenty of opportunities already and there'll be more. So anyone? Okay. Oh, yes, come on. All right, come forward, please.
Good evening. My name is Michael Coca. My partners and I own 1 4th Street, the Best Western, 4 4th Street, the Franklin Plaza Ballroom, and 500 Federal, an office building. We kind of border this property quite a bit. So obviously, we're very concerned about our future. We actually had plans to buy that property and incorporate it with some kind of a development and some parking for us. But when we heard the magnitude of this property, we backed away because we felt that this was a better fit for that space than it just having a parking lot or open spaces. So that being said, we understand in today's world, everybody always can't be happy. That's just the way things are. But we have to be realistic, and we don't want another empty hole sitting there for 10 more years. This is the prime, or maybe the first or second most prime piece of property in downtown. So, we just want to say, being such a large presence in that area, that we're behind this 100% and look forward to a great project. I've known Roddy all my life. This guy can write the check. He does things right, like we try to do. I mean, we try to maintain our properties. We were always concerned with the neighborhood and the presence and the look of everything, trying to keep Troy going in the right direction. So we just want to say that we're behind this 100%.
Michael, I have a question for you
Yeah.
about the easement. You guys are all together on the same page. Is the easement done that you need?
I don't know if it's done. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, no, Roddy was great with us and we were great with him.
so
and,
you're all good with the easement?
yeah,
It just
yeah,
hasn't been
yeah,
pushed through
and
the corporate
parking
council.
and yeah, so
So everything.
yeah, we have no issues at this time.
Everything on Museum Place as they present, you're good with?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
We're more excited about this than the previous situation with
Sure.
CDTA and all that.
Yeah.
So that was scaring us because of the buses running and the noise and the hotel. I mean, this seems to be a much better fit for us.
Good.
So we're excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Yes, sir.
Hi, all again. Just real quick, I think I've also mentioned about, not addressing the prior issues. There's talk about underground parking. This is structured parking, so I don't know why that was sort of dismissed in prior conversations. So the section, I think it's 285-15G1B still applies. This section 7.1 in the comprehensive plan, the parking section in the framework and guidelines that talk about the structured parking being located interior. Structured parking will occur on east-west streets only. All of those things still apply. And then finally, in that same, going back to the zoning law in that same section 4F with the downtown 1 or 2 intensity zone, talks about the parking structure being designed so that frontage adjacent to the public street has a minimum floor to ceiling height of 12 feet, minimum bay depth of 20 feet in order to accommodate possible conversion to commercial and whatnot in the future. It's just not clear that that's what is being, we've heard claim of it, but it's just not clear that that's actually what's happened. So just a suggestion that any sort of movement on this could be conditioned with confirmation that that's actually true from an engineer's perspective. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, thank you. So open it up to further board discussion. No interest in determining completeness at this time?
No.
I would just say that if you're not going to determine the application complete this evening, to articulate what it is that you need in order to see it.
Yeah, can we go through it? Because we tried to submit everything you guys have asked for.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said, can we go through what we don't think would be complete.
Yeah, we're gonna do that right now. Is there anything that?
Yeah, I think that the outcome of your meetings with the HRC, do we have anything that could represent their comments at this point?
I have the latest, what we submitted back in late December.
Do you have any
I-
response from the
Were
HRC?
those before or after?
Before.
We were sent an email today. We were sent an email. Yeah, come on up to the mic, please.
My name is Dean Barada. I'm Director of Operations for RJ Valeni. We were sent an email from Will, said that we weren't talking about this today. We were just moving forward to get completion and talk about seeker. So we're not prepared to talk about that because we wanted to talk forward more with the departments, and we wanted to talk to engineering about what's really pertinent, because we found several conflicts with what they had wanted us to look at and what zoning says. So in retrospect, we should have went there first, because what we corrected already to accept zoning, to accept us, they have issues with. So there's going to be some give and take there, which we're willing to work out with them, and they were very good about it. So we said there's been a conversation with our architect on it. But the letter, the email that we have, and we have a copy of it here, says we're not talking about it today. We're going to move forward for completion. And quite frankly, I don't know why we're not at completion. The only thing I think you guys are talking about is the fire department, which we have no bearing. We can't tell the fire department what to do, and we can't tell the state what to do. You guys need to tell us what to do, and then we'll comply. The other thing with the sewer, we got time to work that out so we can move forward. I don't know of any other issues that we really have. So that's what I'm here for. So that's where we are with that.
All right.
Yeah, our general thought is that application completeness is more the, absence of a document that's required to make secret determination or in order to move forward with the hearing. It doesn't mean that elements cannot change prior to a hearing. But also, having said that, the planning board needs to come up with a game plan of how to address these HRC comments, which, appear to deviate from the architectural guidelines that have already been discussed in previous meetings.
Okay, but I understand that HRC can override zoning requirements.
There's an exception, I believe, on the architectural guidelines for if it's in a historic district.
Right.
I believe it's in planning board's decision essentially to seek and make a determination of approval based on HRC's recommendations. You still have the ultimate authority, I believe.
Mr. Maples brought up an interesting point just before you got back on the mic. I was wondering if there was, were we going to address what he was talking about the height and the setback, and how it fits in the comprehensive plan.
I really don't know what he's talking about, because that's ground level parking. That's not below grade parking. That is ground level street parking. We're not below grade, but it says below grade. It's very specific.
Can you please address the board? Use the mic.
Yes,
So
that's our take on it.
There's people out there who are very much interested in what's being said, and they can't hear you.
Understood. So that's our take on it. In our opinion, that's grade level parking. It's not in the ground. So that's for you to determine whether it is or not, but it's obvious by looking at the drawings.
As far as the staff recommendations from the planning department, where are you on the list that you have right now? I mean, how do you feel you've made progress on those items? Is there anything outstanding that it would
I think everything's been
affect our?
submitted. I mean, Eric mentioned to us today that we have to have the stamp survey plats signed, which we can do probably tomorrow. we didn't know that we had to actually get those actually signed by a surveyor at this point. We
So
figured
in
that
your-
could be
your-
ready for final
Yeah, your
submission.
easement agreements would have
yeah,
to go to council, but they're in process. Are they with the council?
Yes,
They are.
as far as I know. Yep.
So the other things that are missing on your site plan checklist, how do you feel about all those?
Good. Like I said, we have this is our concept for the second level for the terrace, for as far as plants and stuff go, and the walking path and what the green space is going to look like. I know that you guys wanted to look at that last time. We'd like to ultimately leave it up to the property manager to make the final call on some of this stuff, but this is what our thought was.
How about your communications with the city engineer? Do you have some agreement, Chris, with the regards to escrow?
We set up an escrow for the sewer review. I have not reached out to them regarding further third-party review. If there's something that you guys would like to see a third-party review on, you can certainly recommend that.
How do you feel about it?
I think I have additional questions on our traffic demand management plan. I would like to see more information on the actual traffic, data and possible congestion and an explanation of if the circulation path is the most beneficial layout essentially.
So do you think that you can do this in-house, or you're gonna require a third-party review?
I think if the response is sufficient, I wouldn't require a third-party
Okay,
review.
thanks.
I want to speak, if I may, to the question of application completeness. It was previously explained to me from our planning land use attorney that applications could be submitted, and for the biologists out there, maybe they might consider it, a DNA strand to an RNA strand. Essentially, you've got foundational documents that give you an indication of what you're reviewing. And the smaller components of that document may be adjusted, altered, changed, added, removed, or whatnot. But when we review an application for its completeness, we're looking for those foundational pieces. The application, the civic set of documents, complete streets or transportation demand management plan, long form. So the planning department reviewed this with the knowledge that a lot of that stuff has been submitted. If you were to ask or delay for the application's completeness, I would just really ask that you articulate with specificity what it is that you need to see provided for in excess of what has already been submitted, which we do.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now, do we consider seeker?
So I
Yeah.
think, like to confirm that this is type 1 seeker project. I'd like to make that motion.
A second.
Second?
I did second.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Then I think one last issue here.
Well, sorry, was the last motion just for type one or for, are you making a declaration or?
It was just for type 1.
I believe the motion has already been made. If you recall, the last that we did, the last action that we made for seeker was that I believe the motion for type 1 was already motioned. We sent out notifications for this board's intent to act as lead agency, and we received 2 comments, but nobody objected to this board declaring itself as lead agency.
So we're good.
So
Essentially, you can make a declaration if you feel comfortable.
So we could declare a negative declaration. I'd like to make that motion to have a negative declaration or seeker.
second,
I'll second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I think the last thing would be, do you want to act on?
Do we have to make a motion for a subcommittee to meet with,
Yes, I think
Yes.
that's one thing we want to discuss. We need to set a hearing.
So I guess the first issue would be, are we choosing board members to meet with the applicant and the HRC?
Yeah, well, I think we can either designate them or we can ask for volunteers.
Do we have to
I
do
think
that
has to
in
be
this
two.
meeting?
We don't have to, but if they want to move it forward, we should probably. So we have one volunteer. I'd be willing to do that too, I think, unless somebody else has a burning desire to do it. You have quite a bit of expertise in this. Maybe you'd be better at that.
Yeah, I would do it. Yeah.
Is that all right with everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just designate you as our representatives to that committee.
And,
And is-
yeah, we
is
can
this
share.
Yeah, we just like to speed it up, move it along. to figure
Yeah,
it
I mean,
out.
if you just arrange a sit down
Okay.
with us and the HRC and hammer out the details.
Well, I think appropriately it would be to start with you guys at HRC, and then bring the applicants in as needed. So that you understand where HRCs, because they're a body that acts on your behalf.
Mhm.
So understanding what their concerns are, would be appropriate. And then once you guys sort of get to
And I
a
think
point, you
the
can have
idea
that
of,
discussion with the
the
applicant on this
expediency
record.
is like bringing in the applicant as quickly as we could to that. So maybe if we could, get with the HRC as soon as possible and
Yeah.
then notify you as to,
We'll be there. Somebody will be there.
yeah, I was at the HRC meeting. I think it went very well. I think there was a lot of things that they had
I was just
agreed
about
to that HRC had suggested, making this fitting into the historic district better than the more modern building that's there now. So I think we could all be on the same page and get something done as soon as possible.
So this subcommittee, right, is it just going to report back to the main board? Is it going to make decisions? Is it going to offer recommendations to the board?
All right, so my,
Basically just
my,
Two
Yeah.
members who,
I know it's an issue. I would suggest that we just ask that these two people volunteer to sit in on these meetings. It's not an official subcommittee of the planning board, and that doesn't become a governmental body with subject to all of those rules. So I think it would be better if you're willing just to act, it be basically as individuals, but you can report back to us your thoughts and what you learn at these meetings. And you would have no, even if you were an official body, you would have no authority to take any action. So I think it would be a better way to proceed if you're agreeable to that.
Okay, so you want Jim and I to meet with HRC, come up with,
Listen to what they say, give
Listen to
them
what
your
they s-
suggestions, and then
bring in Valenti.
bring back to us some feedback.
We also don't need to, I mean, I'm sure, I think Will's here, yeah. We could probably facilitate a meeting with you folks and the HRC committee
That'd be appreciated.
far sooner than their next meeting.
Yeah,
Mhm,
for
yeah.
sure.
So,
Yeah, as soon as
The
possible.
subcommittee isn't, it's not restricted to the meeting, the monthly meetings.
Right.
So
Okay, anything further on this?
So
application?
excuse me, so we would report back to our planning board before we included Valenti's, or,
No, meet with whoever you want.
Yeah,
Whoever
I
will-
I think
Yeah,
that's up to
discuss
you.
with
I
me
mean,
from
quite
everybody.
Valenti's architect being in the room could be very valuable to
Right.
making those decisions. In fairness to the applicant, though, it's like, we need a manner of disseminating what the results, which is why it would be helpful to have an architect or a member of the applicant
Right.
there, so they have a clear understanding of what you're looking for
Right.
when you come back here,
Yeah,
how
right,
to design their building accordingly.
sort of like a working session
Yeah.
to eliminate any
Yeah.
issues that could come before the public at our next meeting.
yeah.
Um,
And he was there when we had our HRC, when they had the HRC meeting, the architect was there, and everything looked like it was going very well with
Eric, is this-
everybody involved.
Is this something you could set up, or do we?
yeah, I would probably encourage you guys to reach out to Will. He can kind of coordinate between the HRC body and you guys.
And then you could just notify us when they're
Yeah.
ready and we'll
Okay, you
come in.
want us to set up the meeting then?
No, reach out to Will. Will will work with HRC's
Oh.
availability
Okay.
and then we'll start basically with the planning board subcommittee and the HRC. And I presume to Chris's point that the architect will want to be involved at some
Yep.
point in the discussions to be able to hash the rest of it out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right,
so-
next item. Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you.
Next item, 2024-0003, 60 113th Street.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah, I mean, just to say it, so the
Yes.
application completeness and secret just determined, so hearing could be scheduled what's the language you use in this situation?
I would probably schedule a hearing. That deadline submission
Right.
for February is on Monday. With respect to time in that regard, I would consider a hearing as early
So
as
do you
March.
want to schedule a hearing on this project for the next meeting? I mean,
Is it right for that?
You could schedule the hearing if they need to table that, then.
if
You
we
know, you
don't
could do that.
schedule the hearing, it means we're pushing it back another month. If we
Yeah.
schedule the hearing and we're not ready,
Yeah.
there's no harm, no foul.
I'm all for that.
So I'd like to make a motion to schedule a hearing on PLPB 2025-0038 for the next meeting in February, which is, I don't have the date.
It's the 17th of February.
February 17th.
That's February, but then you're asking for March.
We're just saying, or when the applicant is ready.
March 17th, also the 17th for
So,
March.
yeah, I'd like to schedule the hearing for February 17th and so if we can make that motion,
To February?
February, yeah.
You guys
So,
have-
I mean, if they're not prepared, we can always table it until March. But if we schedule it for March, we're pushing it out 2 more months.
Is there a reason it won't fit?
Do you plan to meet? I mean, I don't know how quickly we can facilitate a meeting with HRC prior to Monday.
And what is the significance of Monday?
The deadline for February.
Well, you can schedule it for February and have your meeting after.
Why don't we just say when the applicant is ready? I mean, can we use that language before?
I don't know. I'd have to defer to Corporation Council.
So their
You guys can-
architectural plans will have to be agreed upon before Monday to have it be a hearing in February?
Don't we just have to notify the public like 2 weeks in advance
Notify them of
It's-
the hearing.
So, all right.
and all the materials?
You guys just, if you guys want to schedule it, then we'll schedule and
Yeah, just
we'll work with the
leave us
the
February and we
circumstances
can,
as best
we can delay it in February if that's how it presents itself, which it very well may.
Your motion, Mr. Scully?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to schedule a hearing on this project for February 17th.
Now, second,
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. So the motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're making progress. All right, now back to 2024-0003.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. See you again. My name is Brian Sipperly with Verity Engineering. We represent the owner and the applicant at 61 13th Street in North Troy. That's Energy Catalyst Technologies. Just a little bit of a rewind. We were here to see this board in December. We introduced the project, fielded some questions. The board made a secret determination as lead agency, deemed the project complete. Further review from this board could not be conducted as the project needed a number of area variances. We did appear at the Zoning Board of Appeals at the January 7th meeting. The project received all 5 variances that it applied for, thus allowing us to come back to you all and advance this planning review. So again, that's kind of where we were before. We are in receipt of the most recent staff memo. Question got asked the last time. I'll kind of jump to the answer this time. There's nothing that remains in the staff recommendations that the applicant wouldn't strongly consider or just outright implement. So we don't really view any of the remaining staff comments as any, as you put it, any project killers or any reasons to change the project that's before the board. I know the public hearing is still open, so I can talk a little bit about the project or just turn it back over to you all for any questions or comments at this time.
I just want to clear the record, actually. Your staff report says that this is a hearing. So a hearing has not yet been scheduled. And that would be something of a motion that needs to be made tonight for next month.
This is not, this is.
We had
We did the application completeness. We declared it to be an unlisted action. Seeker determination was not made, nor was there scheduling of a hearing. This was understood between the applicant and the city engineer as he made that statement last month for this. So tonight, you may entertain a motion to determine seeker.
This is not type 2.
it's unlisted.
Actually, yeah,
It's unlisted.
I believe it's unlisted.
It's unlisted.
Yeah. This was an unlisted action.
So I can make a motion that we under seeker as an unlisted,
That's already been done.
or do I have to do 2?
You declared it unlisted last time.
Okay, so
So
then we're
you,
done.
you can issue a determination and schedule the hearing. If you wish to, you can go through the special use findings of facts as well, special use permit findings of facts as well.
Okay, I think I would like to do it all tonight, give them their, I would like to do a determination for a permanent SUP. Schedule a hearing and
Trying to clarify the status today. Is this a hearing or not a hearing today?
A hearing
It's
was
not-
not scheduled for today.
All right. So So we have the seeker issue and scheduling of a hearing.
So we actually did declare unlisted.
Unlisted.
And then we declared the application complete. It looks like we did not schedule a hearing.
I believe that may have been due to the applicant's need for variances,
Right.
which they
Right.
had since gone to
Okay.
the zoning board and
Right.
received.
Right.
So. Let's see. But we could declare the duration of the special use permit tonight and schedule a hearing for the next meeting.
Yes.
So,
I think you should probably, before you do the duration of your special use permit, go through the findings of facts. And you want to ask those questions on the record. So the applicant can provide you those answers and then we can successively issue them.
So do,
document.
I had the questions from last.
You could do this tonight or you can do this at the hearing. So if you're unprepared to ask them.
I don't have questions.
I had them from last month that he gave them to me. Someplace.
Either way, we can schedule a hearing. So I'd like to make a motion to schedule a hearing for this project on the February 17th date.
February 17th, yes.
Is there a second?
I
I
second.
second that.
Second. 2 seconds. Discussion? All in favor, schedule a hearing for February 17th.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. What other piece of business can we do?
Okay, I do not have.
You could issue a seeker determination.
I think we already did that.
You got-
It was
No,
unlisted.
you didn't. All you guys motioned in the previous meeting was for application completeness and the determination that this was an unlisted action under seeker.
So seeker motion?
I'd like to make a motion that notify this as a negative declaration or seeker.
Second?
I s-
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. And the motion carries unanimously. Now we're down to
Okay,
the
I have
duration
it.
of the
Hold
special
on.
use.
Can we just? You gave me last month. So. So we have to read all of this. It's all of this that you had outlined for last month for me, right? And we decided not to do it last.
I don't know what that document is.
Okay. Okay, so Section E of the special use permit criteria. Review of a special use permit application by the planning commission shall include, but not be limited to, the following criteria. 1, the consistency and compatibility of the proposed use with the purposes of this chapter and the requirements of the use district and development intensity zone in which it is located. Number 2, the consistency and compatibility of the proposed use with the goals and recommendations of the City of Troy Comprehensive Plan, Complete Streets Ordinance, and other approved city plans and programs. Number 3, the impact on the nature and character of the surrounding neighborhood, natural environment, historic district, or corridor in which it is located. Number 4, the impact on the site and its surroundings, considering environmental, social, and economic impacts of traffic, noise, dust, odors, release of harmful substances, solid waste disposal, glare, or any other nuisances. Number 5, restrictions or conditions on design of structures or operation of the use, including hours of operation necessary to ensure compatibility with the surrounding uses or to protect the natural resources of the city. Number 6, the adequacy and accessibility of essential public facilities and services such as streets, parking spaces, police and fire protection, drainage structures, refuge disposal, water and sewer, and schools. Number 7, the impact of the proposed use on traffic congestion, impairment of pedestrian safety, or overload of existing streets, considering their current width, surfacing, and condition, and any improvements proposed to be made by the applicant. Number 8, compatibility of the proposed use with the city's historic preservation guidelines and the impact on adjacent historic resources as formally recognized by the city's historic district and the New York State and federal registers of historic places. Have to keep going? Is this
So we have to
It would
consider
be
those
eight
criteria.
questions.
8 questions? I just read them all. Yep.
So we have to consider those criteria in making a determination with respect to the duration of the special use permit. Is it correct?
Yes.
So in making your if we have a motion, we will use that criteria in determining your vote on the motion.
Okay. I have read their proposal. I think it's a great proposal. I think it's great for Lansingburg and the area. I would make a motion that we allow them a special use permit to be a permanent one
Do you want to
Do you want to
solicit
get,
public input prior to making
before.
a motion? Brian, just on, we had talked offline, but I'll bring it up now related to number 7 about the width of the alley and the fact that it might see, primarily tractor trailer, large vehicle traffic from this site. And the idea that our city standard detail may not be adequate to, to have a pavement, basically a standard duty pavement section where really that should be a heavy duty section to support the truck traffic. Has there been any discussion with the client on that request by the city?
Yes, we've discussed that. Since then, we've got our hands on the survey CAD file. And I think if we could share that and discuss that offline, there happens to be a number of things, encroachments in the alley, telephone poles, things like that, that we should take a look at what should come before what, from a chronology perspective. That something that we could take offline and look at the survey in more depth of what's in that right of way.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm good
there's
with
garages.
working through it.
there's-
Start right away. Just heard that as part of this requirement. So you notify the board that we've been
Okay.
discussing it.
Sure.
Okay. So is there anybody who wants to, before we vote on,
Is there,
well, you might want to give the applicant an opportunity to respond to any of those 8 points that you mentioned, if they feel they're ready to do so, or you did submit responses to those 8 questions. So whether it's up to you if you want to put any of that on the record, or you feel like.
I'll ask the board. So the supplement or the special use permit addendum that we submitted, where those 8 questions are bulleted and justifications are elaborated for each one of those, is on the record. Generally, whether we take the time at the pulpit tonight, I guess I'll take a reverse poll if I'm allowed to. Is there any board members who didn't get a chance to read it or have any questions about the contents of that? And maybe we would just go over those specific items. And then if not, I would assume that all board members had a chance to read it and don't take any issues with the justifications in there. Is that fair, Chair?
yes, board members, any issue?
No.
you need addressed?
I had no issues on the responses.
Okay, thank you for reading it.
So, Chris, were you indicating we should have public comment?
I think so. It's up to you, but
All right.
Keep in mind, you will be having a hearing where public comment will be mandatory, so.
Yes, all right, so you can step aside there for a minute. We'll see if any member of the public, there will be an opportunity for a formal public hearing on February 17th, but is there anyone who feels compelled to comment at this time?
Is there anybody on Zoom? Is
So now we'll go
Zoom.
back, pardon me?
there anybody on Zoom?
No, there's nobody on Zoom.
All right, so then we'll go back to your motion.
So I would like to make a motion for PLPC 2024-003. I would like to make their special use permit permanent.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. The motion carries unanimously. Okay, see you in a month.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, so
Thanks,
folks,
Chris.
I was hoping we'd get a little further than this. I have an unavoidable obligation I have to attend to now. So I'm gonna ask the vice chair if she will take over, and I'm sorry I have to leave. And we still have a quorum.
Sit in this chair.
Whatever you.
Stay right there.
Here's the symbol of authority.
All right.
You can whack either.
Okay, we ready? The next item on our agenda tonight is PLPB 2025-0063, 120 Hoosick Street. The Crunch Fitness.
Name's Nick Herman with Crunch Fitness. I know, I believe last meeting, Matt Smith was here, with Crunch Fitness as well. There were a number of different items that had come up. I do believe everything has been submitted for the site plan, landscape plan, and the items, comments have been addressed.
I should state for the record, planning department received an updated site plan this morning. That is not something I can disseminate to the board the day of a meeting.
Okay,
So that has yet to be reviewed.
okay.
Okay, I have, do you want him to talk first or can I ask questions?
Your board.
Okay. I have questions. Now you are going to be a tenant, you will be leasing this building?
Yes, I represent the tenant. Jeff here represents the landlord.
Okay, so if they are leasing this
Yes,
building,
yes.
why would they have to make any, when Jim Land sent in all those pictures on the sidewalk and the parking, would they be required to make those changes or would,
The plaza belongs to the owner and are you the owner? Did I speak with you? Or did I speak with the owner?
Raymond, I believe I believe you've been speaking with Raymond. This is Jeff on behalf of the owner.
Okay, all right. Usually we have an authorization to act as agent form that kind of delineates like who can represent the owner for these types of things.
Understood.
I don't know that we have a documented relationship that you have on behalf of the owner tonight.
I am the owner also.
Okay, can you please state this for the record then?
Yeah, my name is Jeff.
Your first and last name and your relationship to the parcel.
Yeah, so first name Jeff, last name.
Right into the microphone, please.
First name Jeff, last name Jiang, and I'm part owner, so.
So in making and outfitting a parcel, the applicant is the tenant of the space. The owner still has jurisdiction over the parcel. So if it's a civil it's a civil agreement between the tenant and the owner. If the owner is going to be updating the site, or if they feel that the tenant needs to update the site, it's kind of where those two stand in terms of operating on the site. So it's not something that we would get into here. But as this property and this proposal is subject to site plan review, because the space, I think it's over 30,000 square feet.
Mhm,
You are
37.
correct, yeah.
Yeah. So that triggers site plan review. Now, if the owner says, I want the tenant to fix this up, that's on the owner, and the tenant's civil agreement. Suffice to say that your jurisdiction is for the entire parcel.
Explain that to me.
If I might add, I mean, everything that has been asked in terms of, again, the last previous meeting, the owner has agreed to and has been in review of, again, those comments and the feedback, whether it's the bike rack, landscaping, sidewalk repair, curb repair. The landlord has agreed to do such. So it's not something that there's a disagreement between tenant and landlord right now.
Yeah, we do agree to all of that, yes. We do agree to all of that, yes.
So do you
Hey
have a
guys,
plan?
if I could just chime in real quick. This is Chris Cashman with JJ Welch Company, the owner of the property. We're going to be the GC for the Crunch doing the fit out. And we've also been the landlord, the owner of the parcel has already reached out to us and asked us to price the items that you guys have requested. So as far as I know, everything that has been requested is all on those drawings and will be taken care of. Obviously, we can't take care of the landscape items until the spring, but the rest of that stuff will happen while we're out there and happen in conjunction with the fit out of the Crunch Fitness itself.
Thanks, Chris. It would be of some degree of assistance if we understood what that owner's list of items he was prepared to update.
Well, you've requested them all, so you have them, right?
Yes, it should be part of that. It was sent in.
So I believe there was.
Can you guys articulate for the record what it is the owner is going to update? I've
Yes.
heard a number of
Just
things.
I'm sorry, but just off the cuff, I would say there was potholes at the entrance that needed to be addressed. There was some striping at the entrance that needed to be redone. There, on that updated one, there's a couple islands that are going to get trees now. There was a light on one of the buildings. It was a dark area of the parking lot. They're going to put a light on there. The other guy that's been dealing with some of this stuff, maybe he could fill in any gaps, would be Ahmed. He also works for JJ Welch. Ahmed, if there's any other ones that you can think of off the top of your head.
Aside from line striping, bike rack, there's the missing dumpster locations as well. And I think Chris covered them all.
Did you guys have a chance to see? Did you guys have a chance to talk with Jim Lance and what he observed, or did you see the photographs that were sent in from Mr. Lance?
Yes.
Because
yeah, I believe it was
that list that you just articulated did not mention the concerns of Mr. Lance.
I believe the only thing that he had a concern or a code compliant question on was the roof, which the landlord had roofers out there, and we sent pictures in of the repairs.
There was no mention of curbs or sidewalks.
That's what I just mentioned earlier when I said the potholes in the front and the curbs. Maybe I didn't, but I was thinking it. But yes, all of that stuff I believe is on the site plan that was submitted that will get repaired. So all of that stuff will get taken care of.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so
So it says in the staff recommendations that all the sidewalks within the parcel along storefronts are in good repair and those damaged are replaced. So it's not all the sidewalks and all the storefronts. It's just basically a portion.
What's in disrepair? Yeah.
Of it. Ensure all curbs throughout the parcel are in good repair and are at least 4 to 6 inches above grade. Replace any of the damage that are damaged beyond repair. Pave and stripe the entire parking lot.
Yep.
This includes the entrance, where a single sewer collects much of the stormwater. Consult city PE to ensure adequate drainage. Provide new striping for drive aisles and lanes throughout the site. So everything that's on the staff recommendation, you have a plan moving forward.
We do, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and again, to Chris Cashman's point, JJ Welch is going to be contracting to do that. They're our contractor.
Yeah.
But they're going to be working with the landlord again to handle those as well.
What is
in
your
conjunction.
what is your target date for opening?
Well, it's based on when we start, but about 120 days out from whenever we are approved to start. So if we're approved, say February 1st, 120 days from then would be when we would look for occupancy.
So are you planning on moving in 120 days or when all the work is done?
Yes, essentially, once we have occupancy, we move in. Yeah.
Okay. And all the work will be
in
contingent on
parallel.
the work, contingent on the work being performed.
Yes, it's understood, I believe, within that staff recommendation that we are not going to be granted occupancy until all that work is completed. Yeah, and it will be in parallel, to Chris's point, while we're doing the fit out of the club.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Is this a hearing or?
No.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, this is the hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we went through.
All those who approve, say aye.
Please mute your microphone, Chris. Thank you.
So you'd have to ask if there's anybody else who wants to speak.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on this project? Okay, is there anybody on other than Chris on Zoom?
No.
Nobody. Okay. So, anybody here and would like to talk any more about this?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this project contingent on all the work staff recommendations are completed before they open.
I'll second that.
Hold on. It's a big general contingency. That's just the issue. I also don't want to make him come back to another meeting.
I mean, do you want to give us a date to have all completion? Obviously, it would be prior to occupancy anyhow, but
Well, you would.
is there a target?
You would want it done as quickly as possible.
Yes, that
You
would be
want-
the
you
goal.
Want to move in. So
Correct. Yes, correct.
You're the driving force of your
Correct.
own project.
Yep.
And I'm sure the owner wants to start collecting,
Yes.
so. What do you guys think? Somebody second?
Yeah, I'll second your motion.
I'm just thinking of the wording of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of other items on the staff recommendations that we kind of needed to address. Now, we did receive a site plan this morning. I had zero time to look at this, you know. I don't know what it consists of. There were items missing from your former site plan. Islands and such that delineated drive lanes. We did not understand what was existing versus what was proposed in terms of pedestrian safety elements, crosswalks, right? Where you propose to replace curbs, you know, whether or not curbs were going to be unilaterally brought up to code. Some of them, if you drive through there today, they're pulverized, right? So, and you can see the tire marks that go through these little islands because the curbs essentially don't even exist anymore. And some of the recommendations in here, you know, talk about ensuring that the applicant work with city staff to delineate where the best locations would be for improvements. In a general, we'll replace it all. I mean, it sounds great. I would also have to defer to Chris though, because some of this stuff reflects drainage, and whether or not Chris is comfortable with a conditional approval to go through all of these staff recommendations, some of which involve his office, does have some meaning to it, bears some
Yes.
meaning. A blanket, let's just do it based on the recommendations. Well, certainly, that is within your right. But you'd probably want to maybe just, if you're going to get to conditional approvals, I would probably articulate exactly what it is, right? So that staff, Chris, myself, the building department, they can better, review the final
See what
result.
actually needs.
So if you guys want to condition an updated site plan, that delineates some of these items that we talked about today, okay. Or if you wanted to specify specifically like the need for improvement of certain infrastructural parts like curbs or whatnot, I would just say, try to be as specific as you can. I mean, this lot is quite large, so the more specific you are, the better the staff are able to assist in the review and therefore guarantee more expedited approval to, their final inspection for a CO. So if I don't know if Chris has anything to add to that, or if I'm not hitting the nail on the head, but I would just say, just try to be as specific. If you will condition the approval, then just be as specific as possible, please.
Chris, I have a question about the
Yeah.
existing conditions with regard to drainage. Are we adding more impervious? We're
No.
taking away impervious if you're doing the islands, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a significant change in stormwater flows or
Okay.
the impervious surface. So, and on that thought, I mean, I like that it's a good opportunity for improvements, and the applicant seems to be responding positively to those improvements. So, yeah, I am okay with, you can condition it, for improvements to the asphalt and, concrete and landscaping site elements as, approved by me, I guess. City engineer, I'll be the lucky one.
City staff, I would work in conjunction with Chris to go over some of the other details that we kind of need to get some clarification, delineation of, especially the site plan elements. We would, I have an updated site plan this morning, but I have not had a chance to view what's updated on that.
So I think we should hold off.
What changes did you make to the site plan? He said that you received an updated plan this morning. Well,
This would have been from Bowler Engineering.
okay.
Correct.
I don't know, do you, have you been in touch with Karen? Do you know what's? updated on
Ahmed,
it?
are you still on? Ahmed,
Yes, I am still on, yes.
what was specifically updated with this site plan that was just sent out this morning versus the one that was sent last week?
I'm just pulling it up right now.
Okay.
Give me one
Was a
sec.
tremendous amount.
Oh, boy. Sec. What else? Which one is this? 13. I'm sorry, there's just a lot of them
If you
going
go
back
to-
and forth.
Yeah, if you go to that
Uh,
last. Oh, God.
The city had called and wanted to confirm 2 landscape islands in front of the proposed Crunch Fitnesses would remain. These were added since we had the previous plan on the property. We updated our plan to show these with some of the new plantings.
That was the landscape plan, though. So the site plan was on.
But the landscape plan is the last thing that was sent in.
So it was not the site plan. His
That
landscape
is-
plan was separate from that.
No, the site plan included all of the improvements on the site. It was a civil drawing that included all of these things, and the only thing that was missing from the last one that was submitted previously was the addition of, I believe, a couple of trees and maybe some shrubs in an island.
So the submittal this morning was in reference to these suggested
Yes, correct.
landscape improvements. So it didn't have to do with striping or drive aisles or sidewalks or
No, that-
drainage.
That was already addressed in prior submittal.
So basically, it's the same site plan.
Yes.
It's just you're adding the page that includes landscape.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Eric heard that. So, I don't know if you guys heard that. This is what they submitted was just that, it was a landscape approach to the site plan.
That's not ours.
And it's drive all changes or significant
Yeah.
changes to the site plan. They left that alone. This is, here's where the landscaping is. So, I don't know. Eric doesn't.
They're making improvements to the site. This is, for change of use, I think it's a good thing overall. I think you can condition the
Right, Eric,
improvements
I
to,
don't know if you heard our discussion, but so the submittal, according to Med, was that it was an addition to the site plan, and it was the defining the landscaping ideas. So there wasn't a change to drainage, drive aisles, striping, sidewalks in this latest submittal that you got today. I don't know if that's a material enough change to, or addition to, have us act differently.
to get them working, you could consider just conditioning the issuance of a CO
Right.
on adequate repair of site elements as determined by code enforcement or something.
Maybe
of
if
that
we
nature.
City our
City staff.
approval thusly.
City, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to articulate.
Yeah.
Lay it
Yeah,
out
I mean, I
specifically.
think staff are okay with a conditional approval on here, but subject to some more finer points of detail, such as potentially the sidewalks and curbs and asphalt surfaces is another considerably important one would be pedestrian connectivity and safety.
Sure, and
So-
I think also is, in order for them to get the doors open, they're gonna have to go through code, and code's gonna have to inspect their work.
Yes, code will have to do an inspection of the
Right.
exterior premise as well.
Right.
Putting on.
So you guys are on a
If you
final.
feel so inclined, you can make a motion for approval with the condition that a CO is not issued until certain.
Right, so to simplify the motion, maybe, we could, instead of, the staff recommendations, kind of put it on, completing to their site plan, to the satisfaction of the city engineer and the code department.
So
City staff.
what is?
There's
the-
pedestrian safety elements.
So what would be the
sure.
procedure for the owner to meet with the city to go over the issues to make sure that that everything is covered in the scope of work?
The provision of an updated site plan that addresses all of their proposed improvements and pedestrian safety elements. That would be subject to the review and approval of city staff, namely Chris and myself. And if we have to work with the applicant in order to update that, then we will. The applicant has been very cooperative. So I don't think that we're very far off. We would just want some of their commitments documented so that we understand, or so that your final inspection code officer understands what they're going to be looking for to sign off on.
And on the other hand, they're not saying, oh, well, you gotta do that, and now you gotta do that,
Right. You don't want
to. Once and you do everything.
Yeah, we don't want to be
100%
blindsided.
and
Yeah.
It's over with,
I mean, to that point, once, if approved tonight, and obviously, once we start build, JJ Welch, our builder, will be on site again, who would be working with the landlord to improve the site. It'd be ideal at that point, whoever, I don't know who handles it. Jim Lance, I'm assuming, was an outside independent or?
No, Jim,
Oh.
Jim is our senior code inspector.
Okay, so if say our job site supervisor met with him on site to go over everything specifically in detail, they can move forward. And get everything squared away.
Certainly, I think that's a valid point. Jim, he's our senior code inspector. He was the one that documented the site with all the pictures that you guys saw. You would probably need to ensure that those documented images are remediated because they could result in a code violation.
Yeah, understood.
So
what are they going to need for necessary permits and all that for the work they have to do? What documents do they have to?
I would submit an updated site plan for the review and approval, city engineer and planning staff. And in that site plan, you're documenting what you're saying you're committing to in the staff recommendations.
Understood.
And that would be one document to bind them all for those Lord of the Rings fans.
Wow. I don't even know how to make the motion now.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the project contingent upon the applicant's completion of all the staff recommendations in accordance with the code department and the city engineer.
And approval on the site, on the new additional site. plan.
Updated site plan.
Updated.
Yeah, oh, yes, and with the approval of the additional site plan by planning department.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is passed.
Sorry, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It certainly was a mess. That's pictures are,
I just love the tripod. Casey's East.
yeah, that's a
All right, what's
sad
next
thing
here?
that they're gone. Okay, the next, yeah. Next on our agenda is PLPB 2026-0001, 1016 Madison Avenue.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Hirschberg with the firm of Hirschberg and Hirschberg. We're consulting engineers and land surveyors. With me tonight is Floyd White, the owner of the site. They have 2 lots. They would like to make them into 4 lots so they can put 2 duplexes on the site. So this is the existing site, which is vacant, which I think you've seen before.
Yeah.
And this is proposed 2 duplexes. So there's going to be 4 buildings on there. In order to do that, we need some variances. We need a width variance for the lot, a sideline variance, obviously, because there's 0 sideline where they're joined together. And in addition, the units are not going to have 720 square feet each as they have them now, something in excess of 600 square feet. So we'd like to present that variance to the Board of Zoning Appeals also. So those are the 3 variances we'd like you to consider tonight. We prepared to answer any questions you may have about the site. But for right now, our goal is to get on to figure out what the Board of Zoning Appeals will approve.
Whereabouts on Madison is that?
What's that?
Right next to the church. Get the church.
Oh, okay, yeah. So going west on Madison, it's just past the church on the left-hand side.
Yeah, the old church house and then the field on the other side of that.
Yep.
Church house.
Can you bring those over here?
On your computer.
I just pulled them up on the screen as well.
The old church, the diocese of the church.
Yep, yep, yep. Yep. You guys want to see?
Yeah, I can see them up there too.
Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Thanks, buddy.
So I saw.
So that's, Lee.
Your aunt.
Lee lived in that house right next door.
We have not yet considered the urban runoff control plan yet. We will submit that further on in the process. We're aware that we have to submit that too.
So it looks like you're okay with the area. And this is zoned
Yeah,
multifamily residential.
yes.
But you need a site variance.
We need three area variances we're looking for.
With the
One being,
side.
one being the width of the lot, one being for the sideline, because when they join together, there's zero sideline. The variance for that for both of the lots. And then we're also asking for a third variance, which is mentioned in here. You need a minimum unit size of 720 square feet. The way they have them designed now, there's something slightly in excess of 600 square feet. We'd like to do that variance.
657 for the first floor.
657 square feet, so it's,
First floor, and altogether, I think it's,
yeah.
like
it's based,
50 altogether without the garage.
yeah, the base, it's based upon the first floor area. And it's 657 versus 720, so we're asking a variance of like 10%, 63 square feet.
So they're up and down. So you got 650
57.
square feet on the first floor.
657 without the garage on the first floor. Then with the second floor without the garage, it's like 1540, I think.
Total.
For the whole unit.
Right,
And
right.
then
Plus the garage.
is 260 on top of that.
So what action you're looking for us tonight is to recommend to the ZBA.
Yes, to get us by that step, and I think essentially we're ready to go.
So actions that you
Yeah.
actions that you may consider this evening are application completeness. You can declare the project to be an unlisted project. If you feel you have sufficient information, you may issue a declaration on seeker, and you may schedule a hearing. So. If the applicant has not yet applied to the zoning board of appeals, then they would be subject to the March 4th zoning board. So if you were to schedule a hearing, for February, which would only give you 4 days to get us everything that we need. Otherwise, I would suggest a hearing for March. I would ask the applicant how they feel about that, but any approval at that point, if they do have everything they need to by Monday, that any approval would be conditioned upon their zoning variance.
We could meet the Monday, but we'll get you everything.
So have you provided an updated short form EAF?
No, we have not.
You have not.
Yeah.
So you're waiting on that.
Right, but they did, there's only like a question on that short form.
Yeah, a
So
couple items, it looks like
essentially,
misprints or whatever.
and again, the way that it was, instructed to me from our previous land use and zoning attorney was, if they have a document that fulfills the criteria of an application, it's an essential document like the environmental form, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay.
Right? You can have a question that's off, provided they're aware of that and may make their own adjustments to resubmit that form, or, which they have time to between now and their hearing. So I don't know that I would say that one question should,
So
negate their submission.
Chris, have you seen an application for the curb cuts?
No, we haven't. filled out
Not
the check.
specifically Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can give me details on that, Dan.
DPU has to sign off on proposed utilities.
Yeah, I mean, we will have to evaluate this for sanitary line sewer.
So the
Review.
one thing we can do
Might
is
be right at the threshold.
classify this as unlisted under seeker. So I'd like to make the motion to classify this as an unlisted action under seeker.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So do we,
Yeah,
What do
I
we
guess
wanna do,
some guidance
ZBA?
is as far as the completeness of the application, Eric.
Planning
It
staff.
looks like we're missing some things that need to go to third parties here or other places. The engineering department for the curb cuts, DPU for proposed utilities.
So again, we had kind of carry over, one of the elements we carried over from the old application to the new, code. We have integral components of a major project and a minor project or a subdivision review, right? If this application did not have, let's say, for example, the environmental short form, that's an integral component. An application for a curb cut, that would be something that, could coincide theoretically with their application for a building permit. It's at that stage that this, that curb cut wouldn't happen without that application going with their building permit application. But, that isn't an integral planning review element, unless you guys were to, think to yourselves, well, this is a hinging element for this project, right? And if it was of that much importance and you guys didn't have it, then you might, with your discretion, entertain how to go forward from that point on. But I don't see crucial hinging elements of the proposal missing from their application.
I have a question. Is there a sidewalk in front there?
Yes.
Yes.
So this rendering doesn't show the driveway is going across the sidewalk or a curb cut.
I kind of stopped it there, but this is the street. There's a little
That is a sidewalk.
And that is the original sidewalk.
Okay.
Kind of shows it.
Right. So,
we have to do the curb cuts, 4 curb cuts.
right. Now, your application so far has identified the exact location of those curb cuts on your drawings you submitted.
Oh, I don't know exactly like tag where.
Okay.
Keep in mind also that this is subdivision review, and as much as we want to make sure that we have
Everything.
certain crucial information that a survey can provide, not all of the site plan review should be applied to subdivision review.
Right, but we have to make a recommendation to the ZBA.
But we did give a footprint of it.
Okay, you did.
Footprint of the building should be in the exact spot that it's supposed to be. So it'd be straight out from the garages.
Yeah, I had seen that someplace. Okay, so
There are plans. Shows the survey, shows the curve.
So what do you want to do?
So I guess the next thing would, do we need a negative declaration on this? Because it's unlisted, we don't need that, right?
No, unlisted, you still.
Yeah, it's unlisted,
Make
so
a declaration.
we
Type two-
don't,
Type 2 is where you don't need it, unlisted, yeah.
so the only thing would then be application completeness.
Well, you need to make a declaration.
Oh, we do need to
For
make a
unlisted,
declaration.
yes.
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion to classify this as, or declare this a negative declaration under secret.
A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is passed. Okay, so
And then it's application completeness.
okay. Go ahead,
No, Jim's turn.
Jim's turn. Shufeldt.
I make a motion to declare this application complete.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed. So you think you're going to have everything ready so that you could go before the zoning board at their next meeting?
We'll get, all the missing papers will be, Eric by Monday for sure.
So they need to provide the substance for their hearing, their planning board hearing, all of that by Monday.
So if they don't do that, then it doesn't matter. We, just move the hearing to another date.
Then you guys would have, yes, I mean, they have to,
could
once
just table
the
it, move it to
application is
March.
declared complete, you have 62 days to
Right.
approve the project. If you don't do it within 62 days, you have to mutually consent upon review, extending the review.
So outside, it would be March anyway, still be within the 62 days.
Yes, I believe so.
So I'd like to make a motion to declare, to schedule a hearing on February 17th for final approval.
Thank you.
I second.
Okay. And the recommendations to the zoning board? You
Well,
feel that
let's
we
Work on
can,
this motion here, so. we gotta
okay,
vote.
so, all those in
Yeah,
favor?
Contingent on zoning board.
Contingent on
Yeah,
zoning
I
board.
mean, you guys
approval.
will have this back before they go back to the zoning board. If you feel that you've seen enough information by, their next hearing or for their hearing to make recommendations, you could do so at that time too.
Right, okay,
So vote.
okay, so everybody in favor of making this application complete?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
That's all we can do.
See you February 17th.
All right.
So don't we have to,
Thank you.
don't we have to recommend to ZBA what we
I
want to
think
do?
You have a chance to do that at the
Next
hearing,
one.
since they're not going to be able to go before the ZBA before that hearing. Yeah. So
Okay.
their hearing, their ZBA visit will be March 4th. And they're before you February 17th. So I think that would be appropriate to be able to issue referrals or recommendations at the February date.
Okay. Okay. All right, so the last PLPB 202600.
Did you guys actually schedule the hearing for February 17th?
Yeah, I think we did.
It was implied. I think Tony kind of misspoke in
Why
the
don't-
last sentence there, but.
Why don't we do one
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
record?
Okay, let's
Okay.
just do it for the record.
Okay, so I make a motion that we have the hearing on 20260001 on February 17th.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is passed. Come on, keep me in line.
Oh, man.
Okay, so our next project is PLPB 20260002 10 Spring Avenue.
Hello, folks.
Hi,
Looks like. we
can I
might be
have
able-
your name and,
Yes, my name is Dan Morelli with Morelli Design and Construction. I'm here representing Mike Melville and his request for site plan review and to introduce the development of 10 Spring Avenue. Tax number 112.33-4-13, which is currently a vacant lot located in a business development district, neighborhood 3. The scope of our project is to construct a multi-use business park with some permitted uses that include warehouse spacing and a couple of offices. trouble with the lot, which I think we finally solved, is that it's narrow. It's only 60 feet, 64 feet wide, by 140 feet deep. I think we've addressed those problems. We've been in concept planning for a little bit over a year now. We've worked with Eric and Angelina to determine what we could do, what was permitted, what we couldn't do, and we think we finally nailed it. We submitted additional documentation, which is not able to be introduced tonight because it was just recently submitted, but we're very, very close to get a complete application once the data is submitted. What I'd like to do with you is quickly review the site plan that we did submit, which you have, and I'll go through that with you. We'll address the staff report, which I did receive and review. We'll determine the potential variances. Right now, they're listing several that I think we can avoid needing to get. And we'll take some questions and answers. So basically, the lot is a vacant lot right now. There was some concrete structure that's been recently removed. And it kind of ascends up the hill towards the back of the property. Towards the back of the property. And the intent is to put a two-tier building on it. And I'll address what Eric and I discussed today, which will help enhance the need for not getting certain variances. But basically, we've got a single story. I'm Italian, I talk with my hands, I'm sorry. So I need them both. The intent is to beautify the site and to put some feasible space on the property. The owners are here tonight. Mike Melville is here with his brother Andrew, and I'll bring them up afterwards if you have any questions for them. But basically, we're looking to put two leasable general office spaces in the front of the building, which initially we're showing as single-story spaces, but to avoid the variance for the two-story space, we may enhance those to two-story spaces, which is just basically going to elevate the front elevation of the building, which I'll show you in a second. The two rear spaces are at a different floor elevation. These are at 0. These are going to be at 4 feet just because of the grading situation. We'll use the back foundation wall as a retaining wall, which we do have a survey with some grading now, which I'll show you in a second. I know it's not introduced, but I'll introduce it to you tonight just to look at. We'd love to hear your thoughts and recommendations, but we'll use the back wall, foundation wall of the building as a retaining wall in the back. We'll carry it across and then down the side of the property to address the lower portion of the driveway and the incline, the 24-foot inclined ramp to get up to the upper portion. That's basically so they don't got to excavate so much land that's there now. Some of it's not excavatable, some of it's dirt, some of it's shale, some of it's rock. So the intent is for the owner to occupy one of the warehouses for his equipment and material storage for his business and rent out the other for some income and potentially occupy one of the leasable spaces up front for his office and lease the other space for some income. We've provided 25 feet of green space buffer in the front with some trees, small street trees, sugar maples, catalpa trees. We haven't quite decided on the yet, but we'll have that solidified for next Monday's submission. A masonry monument sign up out front, which we'll get some, we have a site designer working on it now for the signage. We'll uplight the signage. We'll put some green space here. The intent is to come into the property. There's 2 parking spaces here, 1 accessible space. There's 2 parallel spaces up on top of the hill for the warehouses. Parking is not a major issue in the zoning district. So I think the 4 spaces we provided will suffice for our need, and certainly the occupants of the warehouse can certainly park their vehicles in a warehouse when they're there. They're not going to be full-time occupants. It'll be come get what you need, go to your job site, do what you got to do. We've got an accessible ramp because I'm at my floor elevation at the lower office is going to be 6 inches above grade. So we've got a little accessible ramp up to a platform into the doors of the office. And then these will be at grade back here. Some of the enhancements that Eric and I talked about earlier today to meet the requirement is striping a 3-foot wide pedestrian crosswalk from the sidewalk out front to the building, and then turning it into a concrete sidewalk as we ascend up the hill. That will shrink the driveway, which is 23 feet, 3.5 inches now, down to 20 feet, which is permissible. It's certainly wide enough, as wide as this building here, as wide as this room here. And we'll put a gate with a rolling, we'll put a 4-foot aluminum fence with a rolling gate up on top of the hill to prevent people from sneaking up and behind there. We'll also have our dumpster storage enclosure back here on top of the hill. We'll line the back of the property with 5 feet of green space to meet the rear yard setback with a row of arborvitaes. And to address the additional green space that's required for impervious surfaces, we can shift these parking spaces out a little bit and connect this with green also. That'll be on our revised site plan. We've already started the work. We just didn't complete it. We'll complete it this week. We'll get that into Eric on Monday. Some of the variances that we're talking about, like the board's opinion on this, side yard setback on the east side of the building. We don't meet the maximum 10 feet. So we'll get, I think we can get an area variance for that. I think that'll be granted. The front yard setback of a maximum of 10 feet. I've got 25 feet of green space, and I've got another 26 feet of paved area for parking. We figured we put some parking behind the green space so it's not right on the road, and kind of enhance the front of the site. So to pull the building up towards the front of the site doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't beautify the site at all. So we think the green space is very important in meeting the green space requirement and enhancing the site. The 80% impervious surface we can correct that. I don't think we're going to need a variance for that. We can meet that requirement with some additional green space. The architectural feature for the transparency, we have glass, and I'll show you the elevation actually.
I could bring it up.
Oh, you have it, okay. So the front of the building from the street, that's it. The front of the building from the street has some glass in it. We don't have a problem putting a whole run of glass across the front of the building. We've got 2 glass entry doors. Then if we extend this front peak up a little bit, not to match the higher roof in the back, because remember, floor level at the offices is at 0 or 6 inches. We're 4 feet in the back, so this building's going to automatically be elevated to a 2-story space, basically, although it's clear story. We don't have a second floor in the warehouse. The reason for that is basically cost and effectiveness. The new building code just came out, and to put second floors in warehouse spaces is going to require a whole lot of stuff, sprinkler systems, non-combustible materials. It's just not really needed to do there, but we're definitely willing to make a 2-story office space. And that will raise this roof peak up slightly below the peak that's here. We can get additional glazing for transparency on the front side of the building. And we can certainly get it. This is the side of the building from the driveway. These are the warehouse spaces, the entries to the warehouses. This roof will get raised up, and we can put another row of glazing if need be, definitely up above and maybe towards the back area too. We'll just make a simple adjustment within our footprint that we already have to accommodate the stairs up to this space. We know we need a firewall between the 2 buildings. Theoretically, the 2 spaces, not the 2 buildings, is all one building. It's just a big rectangle. But this wall, instead of being the firewall, just be part of the office space. We'll go back 3 to 4 feet. We'll put a hallway in here, and this office can access a set of stairs, and this office can access a set of stairs. That'll bring us up. That'll be on the revised site plan that we're going to be working on the next couple of days. So we're hoping that second floor, and I'd like the board's opinion on this, not feasible, put a second floor in a warehouse, although it will be a 2-story space in height, but we can certainly put 2 stories on the office space because it's a 4-foot drop in elevation and not match the roof peak. It'll look really nice. I think I have addressed everything.
You said that if you're gonna do the 2 stories in the office space, there would be a firewall between the warehouse.
Correct.
All the way up.
There has to be, correct. Yes. So in essence, this wall, that's the firewall, would stretch back, and we just put another yeah. And then I'd just like to show you ABD Engineering out of Schenectady has done us a grading plan. They're working on an urban runoff plan right now. Hopefully I'll have that by Monday. And I don't think this was introduced to you. It's upside down. It's just the way they printed it. I'm gonna spin it around. But basically ABD has done a survey with Topo with our building overlay on it, showing the retaining wall. And they've got a whole bunch of more details that they'll include in their final set, including an urban runoff plan. So everything's underway. We're closer than it looks. A lot of the information on our checklist and on the staff report is completed, just not submitted yet. I've been working with Eric over the past week or so in getting those to where they need to be. Do a lot of presentations in other municipalities. I've only been in Troy a couple of times, so I apologize about that. But they're very, very close now. And it was suggested that we just kind of hold on to it as not to confuse the board tonight with new information that would only have been submitted like last Friday. But we'll certainly get a more complete application in for Monday's submission. We'll also apply to the ZBA for whatever variances we determine that are needed. We know 2. We think we can get out of the other 3. Talk to you about that. You're more than welcome to get out of all 5 if you'd like to, but I think we can do that with the area on the side yard setbacks and front yard setback. So anyway, any questions for me at this time or the owner?
I think the question I have is what's the warehouse use?
So the warehouse use, the owner, Mike, I'll have him explain it to you.
Good evening. How you doing? My name is Mike Melville. I'm the owner of Advanced Siding. This is October will be my 10th year in business. So I'm just looking for a spot to store like my picks, my ladders, my scaffolding. Right, I live in Emerald Greens right now, and on the side of my house I have fenced in where I store all my equipment. So I'm just trying to, I got a dump trailer and a white trailer that I tow all my ladders and picks with. Just looking for a spot to put my trailers inside, my ladders. Sometimes I get extra siding material and I'll store it outside, but I'll tarp it off, and no matter what, it gets field mice in the boxes. So I'm just trying to expand my company a little bit. And the next step would be to able to store a little bit of extra material and my equipment. I've grown to where I have 2 crews now. So sometimes I have material sitting at my house or equipment that's not getting used, or I may get some windows delivered to my house. They're sitting in my driveway, or half of my street has trailers on it. So it's just time for the next step. And this 10 Spring Ave is about 2.5, 3 minutes from my house.
Okay.
So it's very convenient. And again, my brother was, I'm just trying to bring him in as, kind of like a silent partner, just to, give him a little incentive and work together.
So you won't be doing a production there?
No,
basically
just
an operation.
storing scaffolding, picks, ladders. My guys, we may meet in the morning, grab this trailer, you're going here. You might pick your check up on Friday, just like that. It's not going to be constant, somebody there at all times.
So Mike, that whole storage area in the back is all going to be yours.
Well, I want it all to be mine, but the way my brain works, I don't want it to cost me money. So my idea was, when I bought the place, I was like, I'm going to build a warehouse for myself. And then I was like, wait, how can I make it not cost me money over time? And I was like, maybe I could rent a spot. So I would like to rent a warehouse out, and 2 of the office spaces, just to try to break even over the long term,
So do you have no idea of who might be renting your front offices, or?
So I've been in talks with a friend of mine. They're out of Troy, same day south of Facing Gutters. They have a gutter business. They rent right now across from the ICC where Lusco used to be. They have 2 box trucks. They park on the street. So I'm trying to offer him off-street parking. I'm talking to him and his wife. They may take an office and the warehouse. Worst case scenario, maybe I'll keep it for myself and just make it bigger. The main thing is to have a spot for me to store my stuff and for my guys to come and meet, collect paychecks, and just kind of, have a spot for clients when if I give them an estimate, they can come sit in my office rather than me going to sit in their kitchen and discuss, paperwork and sign contracts. I'm just trying to bring it to the next level.
Okay, so one of those offices would be yours.
Yes. Which right now we have them split in half. I'm thinking about making mine smaller and making this maybe like 2/3. The one that we're going to rent, 2/3 of the front space, and just giving myself just a small spot for a desk, just for someone to sit and, come sit down and talk with me. And then that's really it.
Do you have that set up, the warehouse? You got it set up now? Yeah, I see the two overhead doors. They're two-man doors. You'll have a wall in between or
Yes.
get-go or.
Yep.
Right now, it's set up as two warehouses, two separate equally sized warehouses, two separate equally sized offices. The intent for Mike is to occupy a warehouse and an office. Whether the walls adjust within the structure will determine. But for the most part, his objective is to use a warehouse and an office and rent out for income to cover the cost, the other office and the other warehouse, as he explained. And the sizes might not be equal. They might adjust a little bit, but basically there will be walls separating the two offices and the two warehouses with a firewall between the warehouse building and the office building.
How much room will you have so the doors are obviously on the east side?
Yes.
The overhead doors. What kind of turning radius do you have to get in and out of there?
We did run some schematics on that. So we're gonna have a 20-foot, you're talking in the driveway.
Yeah.
The driveway is gonna be 20 feet wide. So we can definitely fit pickup trucks and box trucks. Yeah. Inside the building width inside is 40 feet. So coming up the incline into the warehouses won't be a problem. Backing out and back down the hill won't be a problem. Obviously tractor trailers, we don't plan on doing that, but any larger box trucks or tractor trailers, it's not meant for that. It's not built for that.
You can almost back a tractor trailer straight back, right?
Yeah. I was thinking in worst case scenario, I can make this one. If it's like for cluster and space, if it's too much to have two, I can make this just for me and we can rent that, So we're open to negotiating and changing things, whatever you guys suggest. This was one story, trying to keep costs down, and the sprinkler system and square footage and all that. But if we have to go up, we can go up.
So on the office part, on the front part, you mentioned something about going up, maybe putting two stories.
I think to eliminate the need for one of the variances for second floors required, I think we can put a second floor above these offices. Yeah, and then our option is to match the elevation height, which we probably won't do because of the 4-foot differential in floor. So the rear will be two stories in theory in height, but there won't be any additional levels.
Right, it's high ceilings.
The front offices could potentially and may need to be, if we don't want to get the variance for it, instead of being single story space, could be a true blue 2-story space. We'll just raise it. We'll just raise this roof up. As you can see, we got plenty of room. We can raise this roof up, even if we raise it, 2 feet below the other peak of the warehouses, we can still get a second floor in there. And that'll also meet the transparency requirements.
Do you have enough room for floor joists and a full 8-foot, or would you have like knee walls and a?
No, we can clear span it. Yep.
How high is the peak from the front grade to the back peak? Just out of curiosity, I guess.
I actually have that information. So right now, from grade to, right now I have about a 10-foot differential. So but these are high ceilings in here.
Yeah.
So from grade to the lower peak, I've got about 21 feet. To the higher peak, I got about 31 feet. So I've got room to bring it up. The other option is, I don't want to make it a blah building either, is to just carry this roof line all the way across and make it a single roof line. It's cheaper. Doesn't look so good. But that's probably not going to be the option. We might give it a little feature out front. And then we'll side the building. The front of the building will have some masonry work, some stone, some decorative stone, wainscoting with a stone cap below the windows. And then we can't do that on the side because of the grade differentials. And obviously we're not going to do that in the back. So everything else will just be a vinyl siding. We'll pick some colors. And obviously Mike's a sider, so he knows good quality siding. And it'll be a shingled roof. I think it'll be a nice fit for, this is probably our 6th concept of we've had all different types of buildings. There are all different types of uses. The buildings didn't work, the uses didn't work. What we're proposing here for warehouses and for general office space are permitted uses in the district. And that makes for a good fit. Occupation of the site with a nice building is a good fit. Plus, you know, the parking that we're going to put in there is definitely a good fit. You can drain a lot with some stormwater drains, and we'll do a runoff plan too. So I think we can really develop. He's anxious to go. I mean, if it was up to him, he would have had a building up last fall, but we had to get to this point.
Yeah, right.
So we'll certainly take any approvals you can give us tonight. We'll certainly take any recommendations on what variances you feel we need. We'd like to minimize them. I don't think we can get out of the side yard and the front yard setbacks without drastic change. But I do think we can, you know, omit the impervious surface. We can take care of the architectural guidelines. And if you guys think that the two-story front will suffice, it only makes sense. To put mezzanines and second stories in warehouses just is not a feasible option.
Okay. So we're just here to look at this tonight, right?
Yeah, the only motion that you guys could entertain at this time would be to declare the action be unlisted under seeker. Could make that motion if you like.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to declare this an unlisted action under seeker.
All those in favor?
I second.
Oh, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Motion's passed. So when would they go before the zoning board? Do we have to recommend that they approve the variances
They would have their first opportunity to go before the zoning board on March 4th.
on March 4th?
That they will be resubmitting their proposal on Monday to tee up their first official proceeding on February 17th. You know, and you could at that time, once you see the extent of their proposal and the documents they plan to submit, issue recommendations
Then
if you
for the zoning
so
board.
choose. I think the applicant is looking for a degree of your feeling as to whether or not the zoning variance requests might be something that you're comfortable recommending, or if there are certain changes that you know that you'd like to see on the proposal, then I think now would be an appropriate time to inform the design professional so that he can update his documents accordingly. Such, you know, he made references to pervious surfaces, he made references to striping, crosswalk, parking placement. You know, he asked whether or not this board would see a second story on the front office section as being compliant with our zoning regulations. I made mention I would prefer to talk to Corporation Counsel on that, but I'm sort of leaning in the camp that it's probably going to fulfill the requirement. Again, I'd want to get some confirmation from Corporation Counsel.
But if I'm correct, your desire would be to change these drawings to have the two-story office in the front, correct? And
As opposed to getting the variance, yes.
as opposed to getting a variance, but it would be the same use, the office uses in the front of the
Correct.
building.
Right.
Just looking at this, and I haven't seen the site plan yet. You mentioned the urban runoff control plans being, you know, made right now. It just seems tight, honestly, the site. I mean, in terms of the increase in impervious and presumably increasing stormwater runoff, you're adding some sanitary, which affects the combined sewer. I mean, if you have you have a couple of parking spaces, but yeah, if you do second story office space, now you're limited on parking as well. It's just
Well, the second
just a
story
tight
office
site.
space would be part of the first floor. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. So theoretically, we wouldn't have 4 offices. Second story Leasable one would be second story one, leasable two would be second story two.
As it increases demand for parking,
True.
maybe in theory, I guess is what I'm saying, if it's bigger.
Yeah.
Even though he wouldn't have somebody on the second floor, it would increase parking area. I mean, if
Well,
he
no,
made,
not if you didn't have anyone there.
I mean, if he made it a vaulted ceiling without a floor and it goes up to
I
the,
thought there's
Yeah,
that true.
I think
true
what
second
you- what you're
story, yeah.
proposing is not four
I think you're saying it's
offices,
just leased as the
just
same.
two offices and 2 stories, correct?
Yes, so not to,
So you're
my,
not
my, underst-
increasing the
my-
number of people who will
correct.
be work in the space.
My understanding is to avoid the variance, potentially avoid the variance, that 2-story space would be required, not just in height, but in floor. So to achieve that, we'd have a first floor and a second floor. So the ceiling of the first floor would be the floor of the second floor, and then the roof would be the ceiling of the second floor. So there'd actually be 2 levels with stairway up to those levels, but they'd be the same use. So occupant 1 could use the upstairs for file storage. Occupant 2 could use the upstairs for file storage.
I see.
So we wouldn't have 4 offices. It'd still be 2 offices, just 2 floors. I think that would omit I think that would meet the requirement for the 2-story, as opposed to getting the variance for the way we're showing it now, which is just a single-story space here.
so
We're
what-
trying to minimize the variances,
yeah.
basically.
So what is your take on that, Chris?
Do you know what the tentative plan is to reduce the peak runoff from the site, given the restraints?
He just started it, not 100% certain.
You could hire the gutter guy and he could put it into a catch basin.
Well, that's definitely going to be gutters on the building.
Ideally, we don't want to do 2 floors here if we don't have to.
Right, so you don't know until you go to the zoning.
Right.
Yeah, right.
We were hoping that the height of this building would account for.
Right, either way, you have the same amount of roof, so, the runoff from the roof, has to be calculated.
We'll have gutters and drainage and all that.
Yeah, I mean, you run it into a catch basin in the green space, maybe, I don't know, but some way, so it's not going
We
out
put
into
them
the
all in
street.
ground. I did it at my own house. I put
Yeah.
them all right into the ground and take them out.
Sure, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
And on Spring Avenue, will you have concrete sidewalks?
They required. They said.
Yeah.
We've got a whole run of new sidewalk coming across the whole face of the building.
Okay,
and you're using the existing curb cut?
Yeah, it's the whole width of the
Yeah,
property.
so that's an approved curb cut already.
Right.
so even though it's all curb cut in the front of the building, they don't have to put curbs in if they don't want to?
They would need to delineate the driveway with a curb.
No.
There is curb there, it needs to be raised.
No.
Yeah, there's a flush curb there now. So basically,
yeah.
the intent, we're calling it a new 20-foot curb cut to accompany the driveway. So in essence, we'd have to raise or reestablish
The rest
the
of it.
curb across the green space. There's a flush curb there now, but it doesn't suffice in front of the green space.
Right.
That's a better condition than existing. By a lot.
I agree.
Okay.
And again, we're trying to enhance the site, thus the 2 area variances for the setbacks. But as far as the 3 others go, we can certainly apply for them, most likely get them, but we feel it's better to go to the board with less variances than more variances.
Mhm.
The more you go with, the better chance you have to get one not granted. And the other requirements we can meet with the transparency and the impervious space. So it's really the second floor is the questionable thing. I guess the question to you directly off the record would be, what do you, well, I know we're on the record, so it's got to be, what do you think would be better? Do you like the 2-story space with everything elevating up, or would you like it just as is with the single-story space? Which
I
might
think I
kick
like
in.
the 2-story space.
Do you?
Mm. You don't?
I mean, I think if, you know, if you had two tiers of gable roofing.
Right.
You know, the distance from the first to the second gable, you know, the visual of it would have to,
Really, this is just gonna go up.
yeah, so what's the second, I mean, having gables that close together might throw your eye a little bit, but, yeah, this is an industrial building. You know, we're not building the Taj Mahal or a residential thing in the inner city. And your neighbors are all, you know, is it the Culligan building?
Culligan's on the right. and on
Right
the
next
left,
door.
It's a one story.
Used to be Dante's.
Yeah, now it's like a.
Right, so
It's
you're gonna be
very
the
loud.
best thing on the block.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
You're taking up a lot of space downstairs. You're gonna put staircase on either side.
We were discussing if we had to, we could either eliminate that first garage, the warehouse. If we have to put stairs here, I could just make mine bigger and we can eliminate this totally. And we could, that would give me more space here, and we could just- if we had to go that route.
Yeah.
I can give, I can consult with Corporation Counsel regarding the second floor requirements. If you do have a second floor in that front office section, there is a transparency requirement, 30% on that.
That
second
won't be a
floor.
problem. We can actually get more up there than we can on the first floor.
Yeah.
Wouldn't, I don't think you're gonna need to be sprinklered either way. If we put second story in the warehouse, we will be.
As existing here in your drawings, do you meet the 30% with the glass?
The 30% is only applicable to the second floor. The first,
Only the second.
50%
Only
on the first, and we do
50 on
not.
the first.
So we're gonna basically extend this glass. Not sure how we're gonna do it yet, but whether it's a series of windows or whether it's fixed across the front, but basically the front facade, this will increase. The glass space along the front will certainly increase a little bit. And then we've got a single window on the side. Not sure what we can do with that because of the grade differential, but up above, we can certainly meet the requirement.
You know, just an observation, it seems to me it's gonna be a lot more expensive as opposed to getting variance. If you get the variance, you're saving money here.
I would agree,
Yeah, if you don't need it.
assuming that they grant it. Area variances are typically granted with good cause, so.
I would rather stay this route.
I would too. And, you know, trying to meet the 50% for the glass, I mean, it can throw things out architecturally. You can make the argument that, you know, it doesn't work. But, you know, obviously you're gonna have a staircase,
Oh, it's
whatever
definitely
you
added
have on the
cost.
Second floor is gonna have to meet whatever building code you have. You know, if you're going up 15 stories, it'll be a different story. It gets cheaper as you go up. In this case, it's just gonna cost you money and won't be space that you need necessarily. And so, you know, my thing would be, if I was you, I would pursue the variance and, you know, I don't know if you can get guidance up front on that or what. but-
That's the only one we were really up in air on because the setback variances, we gotta get, no getting around that.
Sure.
The two, the transparency and the impervious space, we can fix. It's an easy fix. The second story was the quirky one.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're open, like I said, open for suggestions. So far, we're 1 and 1.
Variance.
Hey,
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot cheaper, assuming they grant it.
If I was you.
And if they don't grant it for whatever reason,
go back
then
to the
we
drawing
would.
board.
You know, time is off a little bit and you go back to the drawing board. You know?
What can this board, can this board recommend anything to zoning?
I would think before you guys issue recommendations, you probably want to see the full extent of your first proposal. But I think that they have enough to think about, you know, in terms of what they may be prepared to recommend or not.
I just want to clarify our timeline. So we're going to resubmit to you on Monday for the meeting on February 17th. For the ZBA meeting on March 4th, do we need to submit by February 11th, which would be before our next meeting here?
Yes, but staff will have sufficient time. I think that we'll have had our, I believe the staff meeting was earlier that week. So I should be in a position to be able to get back to you in terms of preparing an application. If your application's in the door, that's where you want to be. If it has to be adjusted, there's at least enough time. There's a few days before that needs to happen. So you guys should be okay to apply for the March 4th CPA.
Super. And then my next question would be, you don't have to answer this. Complete application, ZBA approvals, what's the chances of getting approval, final approval at next meeting? Still got to do a public hearing.
I don't know, we'd have Rich here, but I don't know if we could do the final approval
Without the
contingent
ZBA
on that.
variances.
Yeah, I think there's too much for them to.
And so we're still looking at a March. We anticipated that. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's still gonna be building season, right?
He's just getting anxious.
Don't blame him.
He's got a backhoe ready to go.
Good, I think it's great. I think it's great.
A little cold right now, but
How's the earth? Not bad.
No, we took out a little concrete slab that was there. It wasn't even really broken.
I mean, like, when you get back to excavate, it's gonna be a lot of shale and.
That's what people think, and we won't know until we dig. I'm getting prices from a couple different excavators. I work with a lot of builders from locally, so I'm going between a couple different guys trying to get the best number, but they got all legitimate machines. It's things that they do all the time.
Yeah, the
So
whole ramps and all that.
yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm using guys that dig for builders. So I'm gonna do the siding, a lot of it with my company, but like the plumbing, the excavation, the foundation, that'll all be subbed out.
And it's all slab on grade anyway. You're
Yes.
not going down 8 feet.
Right.
You're going down 4.
Right. Yes, sir.
All right,
I don't know
so
what action we can take.
Whatever we can do, I think, what do we do so far? Secret.
You guys did,
We
you
did-
guys declared the action to be unlisted,
Right.
and that's kind of
That's about all we
that's
can
about
do.
all you can do. Yeah, that prepares them for their first meeting.
We wish we could do more.
Hey, it's understandable. It's a step in the right direction.
So our
Appreciate
balls
it.
in your court.
Yes, sir.
Who's-
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's so many options.
Yeah, I agree.
It needs some love, so we want to make it look nice.
Give it some love.
They did a nice job on the two buildings next to you. They did a nice job on Culligan's.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, that guy who moved.
Yeah, he painted it and he changed some windows. The guy on the left side there.
Yeah.
I think he rents it out to like a roofing company. It looks like or
And
something.
my cousin Jared,
Okay. Yep.
he rented out to Bernardo 518.
Yep.
Roofing or something.
Yeah. I seen him over
He
there.
actually did a couple roofs for me. He
Yep.
does good work. He did a nice job in the building.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, you work tonight.
I think your building will fit right in there.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's our recommendation.
Take it.
Yeah.
It's too
Cold-
cold to do anything else. Not doing
Yeah,
siding.
cold so we don't want to.
Probably shrinks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Funny, usually when I see leftover people, there was nothing I could. Like them, I get a little nervous. I knew we weren't gonna have a public hearing.
That's it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
All
So,
right, fine, let's go.
Hmm?
Close the meeting.
yeah,
Thanks, Aaron.
close it.
Can I do it?
Go ahead, close it.
Are they already scheduled?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.